strategic growth of Fluence's software as a service business, where he oversees a team of AI and data scientists, software engineers, product managers, as well as operations and commercial sales experts to accelerate Fluence's digital offerings globally. Krishna brings more than 16 years of demonstrated expertise in building customer solutions through senior technology and product management roles across multiple industries. Prior to joining Fluence, he served as the Chief Product Officer of InCharge Energy, a leading developer of commercial EV charging systems. And Krishna was also founder and CEO of MyShop Peru, which was ranked 6th among the most fundable startups in the US and featured in Entrepreneur magazine. Today, Krishna will be speaking about how digitalization is transforming the energy landscape. Please help me welcome Krishna to the stage.
Good morning. Let's make it again very loud. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Great. Wes, thanks for introduction here, and I hope you're having a great day with this amazing place, and I can see the crowd, and wow, we are going to make the difference for the energy justice, the climate change here. So today, I want to talk a little bit about Fluence before we get into the topic on how digital is going to transform. So, what do we do at Fluence? Our mission is to transform the way we power the world and really make Earth a great place for our future generations. What we are given, we want to give it to our children, grandchildren, and so on. So this is the mission that Fluence is on about. And we do this in two different ways. We have what we call the energy storage solutions. We are the leader in this industry. We have more than 6.2 gigawatts of deployed storage solutions, and about 4.1 of them are under our own management. On the software side, which I lead, we have two industry-leading platforms. The first one is called Mosaic, that is used for automated bidding, an AI-driven product, and the other one is called Nispera, which is used as asset performance management platform. Both of them, as you can see the numbers here, have a significant footprint, and the beauty is they work with all renewable energy asset classes we have today, all 4 of them. And they're also hardware agnostic. They don't need any hardware. They work on any platform, any hardware from any of those 4 renewable energy asset classes. So this is what Fluence does, and with that, I want all of us to take a step and think really about how digital can change the world. What I want to really show you today is how can we all together reduce 10 million pounds of carbon dioxide emissions from our clean planet and make it as beautiful as it is today and lead the way forward. This is where I want to talk about the digital adoption. So digitalization, as it says, adopting technologies to change an industry is not at all new. This happened before. I want to take a parallel here and connect to the retail industry. If you think of the retail industry, not too long ago, it's pretty straightforward one-way line, right? You have producers that are producing the goods deployed in the brick and mortar stores, and you are now walking into a store and picking up. This is how the world used to be. As a consumer, I have very less power on to dictate what I need when I need. I'm dependent on what's available in the brick and mortar store. And then came a revolution, we all know, the online store, right? It changed the way we think of commerce. E-commerce got introduced. I call this type of adoption as the first stage of digitalization. A fundamental change happens when you bring a new technology that's adopted. And as we all know, adoption is not easy, it takes time, right? Once we pass this stage of initial digital adoption, we come to a further enhanced version of it, which I call the next generation. This is where we are today with the retail. Think about yourself. Today, when you think of buying something, you have direct-to-consumer systems that are available through the online platforms. You can literally have it delivered right here, wherever you want. And you can do the ultimate customization. You can tell what you want, what color you want, and it comes directly from the factory. This did not exist 20, 30 years ago, right? This is the power of digitalization that changed the fundamental of an industry like retail which all of us are part of on a day-to-day basis. And as you can see in the picture on the right, the online store, the digital platform, really became the center on how this industry is going to evolve further. Now, let's take the same parallels and try to see how it affects our industry where we are. If you look at our landscape, energy generation or flow of electrons, a couple decades ago, it's really again a one-way street. You have the generation, not so green, but the generation existed. And then you have transmission and distribution, very static in many ways, designed for that type of inputs. And then you have the demand, again, not so powerfully dictating what type of energy they want, where they want it from. Fast forward, today I believe we are in this first stage of digitalization, where we have various types of renewable classes of energy coming from multiple storage and solar, windmill, and so on and so forth, hydro. And then the transmission and distribution systems, we still have the traditional ones where we are trying to take advantage of what we got and move forward. And on the demand side, similar changes already happened. Just like on the generation side, we have DERs, we have electric vehicle adoption, and all these are going to significantly change. So the electrons are now going two ways, and we have to change the systems. And this is where digital is playing a key role today. And I'll tell you what way are we changing it in a minute. Where are we going to go next? This is where I want to also have all of us understand a little bit what we think is digitalization going to do for our industry and how are we going to evolve as we go forward. So now let's look at what's happening today from an angle of what are the problems digital is solving. The first problem digital is trying to solve is the complexity of data. We all know that as new assets, renewable assets come, the digitalization of the data points that we get for digital systems to process are significantly exponentially increasing. For example, if you look at this, the windmill was typically generating about 50K data points. You got the solar, we literally 10x the amount of data that's providing, and how we are going to consume it becomes a challenge for digital. And now if you look at the storage, we are literally multiplying that by another 2 factors. So this is where the data becomes the center of the adoption for the digitalization and how we actually can take decisions from this data. Now let's also look at what's happening with the adoption. PV is scheduled to double in adoption in the next 10 years. For all of us in the room, this is the greatest thing that's happening. And on the storage side, similarly, it's actually going to go 20x more. This means we not only need to have digital systems that can ingest that amount of data as we saw on the last slide, but we also need to plan for this amount of scale. We don't want to fail. We want to be successful. We want to deploy these in the right way and get the systems going, the adoption going, right? So this is one area where digital is leading the solution for this problem. The second area where the digital has a significant role to play is the complexity of assets. Let's all think about the day in the life of an asset manager. Some of us in this room look at this on a daily basis. An asset manager today is challenged with multiple monitoring systems, different types of systems, different type of interfaces, different data points, different ways to interact with this information. There is no real portfolio view to say, hey, how am I performing across my portfolio? Where should I make the decisions? So the asset owners are really trying to harness data in the way they're possible, but they're also looking at the digital systems for them to help them make these decisions. So the good news is there are next generation asset performance management systems that are available in the market today, which are leading the front and trying to solve this problem. One of them is Fluence Nispera. Today morning, we announced our support for storage in the Nispera platform. So what this really means is we are supporting all 4 renewable energy asset classes in Nispera starting today. Even as on the day 1 here, we already have almost a gigawatt deployment of storage on this platform. What does this really mean? When you have these different storage asset classes, data coming into one uniform view, you can make better decisions. What you are seeing on the screen is a real image taken from the product, and here you are seeing obviously the strings of PV, and what we are showing is the real-time productivity of those strings. The system also lets you go to the past and do a plan versus actual analysis, and then you can also look at the future and understand across the horizon what's going to happen to your PV. This is the type of system that's going to help our asset managers get smarter and better. For example, they can have automated systems. They can create the reports that you want automatically delivered to your email inboxes. You don't need to go chase the data down. You can identify the problems before they happen, before the systems trigger the alarms. This is where AI plays a big role. We can see the patterns, we can identify what's going to happen, how is the growth of trees in that area of the plant going to impact your solar energy consumption or production. So you can start identifying the patterns. And once you identify the patterns and once you know the issues that you are going to have to resolve, you can also have the system prioritize them. So the system can take care of this issue first before you look at the other issues. So this way, you actually can prioritize what's very important. These APMs that are the next generation in the market are helping us get a return on asset between 3 to 10%. And this is a significant number. And we believe these types of adoptions on the digital can help change the game on how we move forward. The third area I want to talk about is the complexity of the decisions. As we all know, adding a storage to a solar gives some extra additional benefits that you cannot otherwise get. First of all, you're removing the variability there, you are able to get to energy time shifting. Now you can also reduce the clipped energy by adding a storage system to the solar. And you can also reduce the risk of what you are promising versus what you are actually producing by having storage as your backup. So there is a white paper if you are interested on how Fluent Storage supports this. You can take a look at it when you have time, or you can come see it as at the booth. What I want to talk through this is once you start thinking of putting a storage along with the solar, in certain markets like CAISO, like California and so on, you have an option to actually bid that energy to the ISOs and get some additional revenue streams coming. And when you think of the decisions you need to make in order for you to efficiently bid, a human being's ability to make decisions is pretty limited. There are about more than 100,000 decisions that you can take in a typical hour for you to get the best value for your buck. And why are these coming? Again, if you look at the macroeconomic situations here, there is a lot of market volatility, so the rates are not static. Now you have the new markets and new products being introduced by ISOs on a regular basis. So this also means you actually have to constantly change your algorithm in the back end and how you think about it. And then the storage systems have technical constraints on the charge, the state of charge, and so on. So you have to also consider how you are not going to break the warranty and so on. So this is another area when you have to make these complex decisions. A smart platform driven by AI can really help you make these decisions faster. I want to talk a second about our Mosaic platform, which is the AI bidding solution out there. And as you can see, we got the Times Best Invention 2022 award, the only software platform that got an award last year with the AI application of the AI in solving this problem for our industry. And when you look at it, any smart AI system that you are going to adopt, either Fluent's Mosaic or any other system that you are thinking of using, needs to do the following 3 steps. Once you have collected the data, the system has to be smart and clean the data. This is where what we call the hindsight. You want to take the data that matters. If you remember, we talked about the data points. You're getting hundreds of thousands of data points. How can you focus on what's important? The second step here is identifying the patterns. This is where machine learning is going to come into place. The machine learning is essentially going to apply the known behavior, the known patterns, the historical information into the data and tries to segregate it so you can start making better decisions. The third step is the prediction. What is important for you as a customer? What are your goals? It may be very different for one person versus the other person. Some of us want to maximize revenue, some of us have other goals. So this is where the AI in the algorithms need to really understand what you want, and also sometimes need to tell you what is the most important thing for you, right? So this is really the combination of your decision making, the software decision making, AI decision making. And what we noticed in Kaiser, for example, when you let the system do its things and you set the goals, the system is able to give about 40% revenue uplift, which is a significant number. And of course, these are available in certain markets, and certain markets have ISOs and stuff. But the key message here is when you start thinking about deploying solar with storage and bidding into the market, you got to think about an AI-based platform that really can think of these 3 steps. So what's next? I told you the 3 problems we are solving and how we are solving them today and how digitalization is going to help. But where does this industry go? Think of the example we talked about, retail industry, right? The retail industry, the online store became the center of the next generation of the growth. So this is where I'm also predicting that based on where we are today, we will start seeing the digital becoming really the center on which we are going to solve the bigger problems. This is how we are going to really touch and solve the greater problems that we'll see as our industry grows, as we double, the deployments or 20x the deployments and so on. And what are those areas of focus? The first one is the interconnection processes. As we all know, the systems were built for a long, old time, and as we add more and more renewables, the interconnection queue is already very, very slow. So the digitalization or the digital platforms are going to try to address this, and some of them are already working on it. There's a lot of research going on. So the digital will come and try to solve this problem. The second is the storage as transmission, ability for transmission to develop. At Fluence, we are already doing this with one of our customers in Europe, where we deployed batteries on two ends of the transmission, and suddenly we doubled what the system can do. So this is just one example. There will be a lot of investment and a lot of development that's going to happen. And also, when you put storage into the real-time transmission, the level of intelligence the systems need to have, the decision-making, of course, is going to get more and more. So this is where the AI-driven digital platform will take a leading role. The last but not least is the system balancing. What are our macroeconomic conditions? How can we address some of the bigger challenges that we have? How can the system dynamically balance between variability in the generation, the variability in the demand, the DERs getting very dynamic? So these are the three areas where I believe the digitalization is going to take the center stage, and we will see a similar approach like what happened in the retail industry, where the whole industry is centrally driven through the adoption of the digital technologies. So, just want to summarize here, we have complex data, complex assets, complex decisions. We looked at all of them. And when I say and but, what I mean is, the end is that we have the good solutions, the digital solutions, but the adoption is the key. We all need to step up, adopt the digital solutions, think of solving the problem for greater good and how we can get there. The World Economic Report says that 8% of the emission reductions in this beautiful planet can come from digitalization of the energy industry, just the energy industry. The total footprint is about 25 to 30% of digitalization. The energy industry, the problems we just talked on the last few slides, if adopted correctly and deployed correctly, can save 8% of emission reductions. And when you take that 8%, apply to our goal on where we need to go, that translates to the 10 million pounds of carbon dioxide emissions that we spoke about on the first slide. So this is where the role of the digital is going to take a central piece for us to really evolve this industry. On the lighter side, I want to talk about the image that you are seeing on the right. If you are thinking that's not something my 8-year-old son did, the painting, but this is done by something called the OpenAI platform. We literally plugged in 3 simple words: solar, wind, and digital. And the platform, the AI platform, was able to generate this image and give it to us within 2 to 3 seconds almost. And it's going to get better. This is the power of AI. This is coming. Of course, artists were not happy when this platform got deployed because, in many ways, it's doing the work of the artist, but we also have to understand the AI investments from the last 20, 30 years that went into the AI development is now getting reflected. And our energy industry is going to take the real advantage of all the greatness that has been done on AI, and we are going to really combine them together as we evolve the digital industry. So, as a summary, let's make the planet greener. Let's have our future generations the same experience that we have. Let's get to the justice that we heard about earlier today, and let's adopt the digital, and let's get smarter on how we solve this. Thanks for your time.